is Cynthia Gartman with Seniors BlueBook. I am so excited today to be joined by Jeff Paloma of Belowman Associates. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Cynthia, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Looking
That's
forward to
awesome.
today.
Yeah, I am too. This is going to be great. So, we're going to talk today about help. My spouse needs to go to a nursing home and we can't lose everything. I know that that is just a real and present fear for a lot of folks. It would certainly be a real and present fear for myself if one of us had to go to a nursing home at some point. So, could you
Absolutely.
tell us a little bit about yourself and your firm, Belowman Associates?
Sure. I'm Jeff Paloma, and we are with Paloma and Associates. We are an estate planning and elder law firm. We specialize in that area exclusively, anything from powers of attorney and last will and testaments up to asset protection trusts and tax trusts and assisting the elderly as they age and planning for their future.
Excellent, excellent. And so, tell us a little bit about the history of Belowman Associates. You look like a young person, so I don't think you've been in business for 150 years, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, thank you. I'll take the compliment. So, Paloma and Associates we celebrated our 11th anniversary in practice, and I practiced for several years before that, so I'm coming up on my 20th year of practice, but almost 12 years for Paloma and Associates. So we've been on our own here for a little while, trying to figure it all out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm sure that it's been a figure out mode during this whole COVID thing, but I know you guys have just kind of kept on keeping on, which is awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
we're moving on. Let's keep it that way.
okay. So, why did you personally get into elder law?
Yeah, so my mom was ill, and we were looking for all the answers. Just your normal questions. Is dad going to lose the house? How are we going to pay for it? Um, are there programs out there? Is there anything we can do? Is it too late? And unfortunately, the answers weren't readily available. And to the extent that they were through attorneys, and I had to pay $300 an hour to sit with them, and they weren't answering any of my questions. They were literally just listening and then at the end of the meeting saying, well, if you hire me today, I'll roll that $300 over into your planning fee of 15,000. But if you step foot out of the office today, you forfeit your $300. And I just never felt that that was the right way to do business or the right way to treat people. So I made a decision that when I had enough experience and felt like I was ready to go out on my own, I would open up an estate planning and elder law practice to help people in the similar situation. And my phrase always is, when you're in the hospital room like we were, that's not when you should find out the answers to your questions. You should know the stuff ahead of time. So we created our entire business model around education so that the situation that we had happen doesn't happen in the future.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. So, just jumping right in, can
Sure.
someone lose everything? Is that a real threat? It feels like a real threat, but I don't know.
Yeah, and it actually isn't, and that's why we kind of wanted to get the word out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the way that the laws work is Pennsylvania is actually, believe it or not, really good at protecting who they call as the community spouse or the well spouse, the spouse who does not need the care. So at a minimum, we're going to protect the house,
Mhm.
the car, the community spouse's retirement account. So
Okay.
community spouse's retirement account, not the retirement account of the individual needing the care. So right off the top, you got the house, the car, and the community spouse's retirement account right out of the gates protected. So that's the worst case scenario, assuming that they file a Medicaid application and an individual is in a nursing home in the state of Pennsylvania at a facility that they accept Medicaid. So that is the worst case that they will do.
Okay. Excellent. So, it sounds like a spouse won't lose everything, but they'll lose about half. Is that of, of everything?
Yeah, and again, perfect. Like that is what we think, and that is what it appears to be. So originally, I had a better answer, which was no, you're not going to lose everything. Now I'm actually going to say the worst case scenario or the other side of it, which is well, it may not be that good. Meaning, we know we can protect the house, the car, and the retirement account, but then we
Right.
put everything else in a pot. I mean, literally everything else goes in the pot. I don't care if he owns it, she owns it, they own it. We're going to put it in a pot, and the spouse can only keep half, but no less than 26,000, no more than 128,000. So
Okay.
what that means is if that pot is 500, the community spouse can only keep 128,000. If the pot is 50, they can only keep 26. So there really isn't a half. And so sometimes, you can't keep half because you have a lot more than 128, $1,000. So
Right, right. Okay. So a single person can lose just about everything. Is that what we're saying?
yeah.
I
So the
always thought the
rule,
state would never take somebody's house.
yeah, the rules are very different for married couples. Pennsylvania made a very conscious effort to protect spouses. They didn't make the same effort to protect individuals. So essentially, you are correct. In order to qualify for Medicaid for a single individual, the individual must be spent down under $2,400 or $8,000, depending on their income. So if their income is greater than $2,349 a month, they can keep $2,400. If it's less than that number, then they can keep $8,000.
Okay.
Now, what some people will know or hear is that you can exempt the house with the intent to return home. But the problem is, if you exempt the house and the person spent down to $2,000, who's paying the carrying costs of the house? Who's paying
Right,
the taxes? And the
right.
answer is the children. I mean, at the end of the day, the answer is the children will end up doing that. So I advise get help. Understand the rules and the nuances around the rules because as it relates to a single individual, they're not very favorable at all.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So let's now talk. So thank you so much for giving us those answers. I know that that was just kind of a little bitty answer, and there's a lot more depth there. So how do
Sure.
clients talk to you about that? How do they engage your firm, or if they have questions after this, how do they approach you?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. This area is so much information and it's so daunting, and I believe that's why there aren't a lot of us who specialize in this area. So what we do is we offer a 2-hour free workshop, and nowadays we can send the link so that you can watch it anytime. We do
Yep.
offer live virtual events that are scheduled at a certain time. And we are offering in person, but we're limiting it obviously to a very limited number of people who can still come in person. We'll educate you for 2 hours on everything you need to know. So the concepts that we just talked about, we probably will spend 45 minutes on this
Okay.
specific topic. So
Sure.
you'll learn a lot more. And then because you came to the workshop, and anybody who can put up with me for 2 hours deserves something. So the return that we give is a free consultation with one of the attorneys, either me or Dan Hill at our office, and
Okay.
we'll meet with the clients and we'll answer every one of their questions. We will tell them exactly what the law says, exactly what we can do, what the
Okay.
cost would be up front, so that by the time they even have to make any decisions or think about it, they've already got at least 3 good solid hours of education. So I feel like they're pretty well armed with the information that they need.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know that your events are listed regularly on our website, that's seniorsbluebook.com. They're also listed on your website, which is belomo associates.com.
You
Did I get
got
that
it.
right?
Yeah, you
Okay.
got it.
And if folks get our newsletter, uh, Jeff's workshops and his firm's workshops are always carried inside our newsletters as well. Anything else that we need to share with everybody before we say goodbye today and let them on their way?
No, I mean, just leave them with this is a very overwhelming area, and there are not a lot of people who really know the ins and outs of it. So there's a lot
Yes.
of misinformation. So please don't just believe your neighbor 3 doors down who happened to know of a person who was in a nursing home 27 years ago. Make sure that you're getting real advice from somebody who really understands the ins and outs because it can be catastrophic if it's not done properly.
It can. And Jeff, we didn't say this at the beginning, so I want to make sure and say it now. You're actually a CELA, which is a certified elder law attorney, correct? And there's not that many of them around.
No, there's not a lot of us, and it is a very difficult exam to get through, and certainly it's a great credential. And I'm also fortunate enough to have a master's in taxation and a certificate in estate planning, but I don't tell too many people because I don't want them to think I'm boring. So,
And you're not. Let me tell you, Jeff's Jeff's sessions are amazing. He is the funniest attorney I know, and I started life as a paralegal, so I've known a lot of attorneys in my life. So go and check out Jeff. We appreciate you being here today. Thanks, Jeff, for joining us.
thank
You
you
have a
very
good
much. I really appreciate it.
day. Bye.